Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Dennis Wilborn, and it looks like nobody's here yet. So I'm just going to wait just a minute or two and see if anybody logs in. Okay. I'm going to open up my comments, see if anybody's watching the comments, and let's see if anybody decides to join us today. All right. We're waiting, and we're waiting. Okay. Well, hello. Excuse me. That's weird. It doesn't show that you're watching, but that's okay. Maybe there's a delay. So we have one person. If you're here and I'm not seeing you, just leave me a little thumbs up or drop a comment or make a little happy face in the uh, chat so I can see that you're here and we'll get started. Okay. So, excuse me. What a great name. Excuse me. What's your name? No. Excuse me. What are your plans for the weekend? Oh, I know the weekend's almost over. It's Saturday, end of Saturday, heading into Sunday, and and so who knows what everybody's plans are? Anybody? Anybody? All right. I'm told there is a slight delay of a few seconds, so when I talk, I'll just wait. All right, we've got a couple of people watching. Couple people. All right. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. All right. So today I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get down. Gonna get down. Okay. I don't know what that means, but get down and crazy. We are gonna start today. We are talking about questions. I love questions. It's a little bit of a different format than last time. I'm still going to do a quick presentation. This is about asking questions in order to improve your meetings and just your general conversations as well. Then I'm going to try to play a little game and see if we get anybody participating in the game. So hopefully you're ready to type comments because it's going to be, it's not going to be any fun if nobody participates. And then finally, I will open up the comments to ask me anything. That's right. AMA, ask me anything you want, any question in the world. As long as it's safe for work, I will answer it. Well, we'll see. Well, most likely I will answer any question, whether it be about English, whether it be about me personally. I'm here. I'm an open book today. So get ready. Let's go ahead and start the presentation. And we're going to do so. This is asking questions in a business meeting. So if you are someone who gets nervous, especially when it comes to asking questions in a meeting, I want you to know that you are not alone. Okay. Even native speakers get nervous in business meetings. And it can be even more daunting and difficult. Oh, hi, Unyang. We have another member. Nice to see you. Are you in Singapore or are you back in Korea? I don't remember. I think you're still in Singapore, if I remember correctly. So, um, sorry, I just got distracted. Let me get back to the presentation here. So, as I was saying, if you get nervous in a meeting, especially if it's in English, you're not the only one. We all do. I mean, I've been there in so many business meetings. When you're first starting out, it can be really daunting, especially if English is not your first language. So, but I have to say, it's still an essential part of communication. It helps you to get to know your clients better. You build relationships. You get a deeper knowledge of your colleagues, your clients, your partners. Everybody gets to know each other better. So, what I'm talking about today, I'm going to talk about why people avoid asking questions and how you can overcome the challenge of asking questions in meetings. And Young just got back yesterday, so welcome back to Korea. Nice to see you back in Korea. Moving right along here. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Why do people avoid asking questions in English? All right. Well, the first reason that people, uh, I'll get into that, but I mean, there are several reasons why people don't ask questions in English during business meetings. First of all, it could be that they fear sounding unintelligent. Okay, they think, and I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people say, "Well, I don't want to sound like I'm foolish, or I'm afraid if I say something or if I ask a question, my grammar might not be just right, or my pronunciation might not be perfect. So that's going to make me sound unintelligent." And there's a saying from when I was a kid, and people still say it. I think there are no stupid questions. Okay, uh, I know it sounds bad, uh, and I'm sure if you tried hard enough, you could probably find some questions that are stupid, that you might consider stupid. But in reality, the only stupid question is the one that isn't asked. Because if if you fear that you sound unintelligent and you don't understand everything that's being shared, and then you go off and do something else, then you're going to look unintelligent, which is even worse. So I'd rather, so don't worry about that. The next one is the fear of being judged. And this is a big one. Not only do they think they're going to be that they're going to sound unintelligent, they fear that they'll be judged for asking a stupid question. Like I said, there are no stupid questions, um, and that makes them reluctant to ask anything at all. They may lack confidence. If you lack confidence in your English speaking skills because you don't have practice, because you're afraid, because you think you don't have enough vocabulary skills, that can be a real challenge for you overcoming those fears. And of course, there's cultural differences too. This is something that I learned in Korea a long time ago. Depending on what your cultural background, you may have been taught to avoid asking questions or to only speak when you're spoken to. One thing I used to be so surprised about in business meetings here in Korea, everybody looks at the table. Everybody's looking down at the table and not looking at each other. And no one asks questions or no one says anything until it's their turn to speak. Um, I came from the United States, and in the business model in the States, it's very common. You're encouraged to ask questions and walk away with clarity and understanding. So, and we're also encouraged to look at each person when they're talking and pay attention and make a connection there. So there could be cultural differences. Maybe you're taught one way, but if you're doing business in English with Americans, especially, looking people in the eye and asking questions is very, very important. So, all right, let's jump into what are the benefits of asking questions. Believe me, there are a lot of good benefits. Oh, we have a couple more people here. Uh, uh, Hyunmin's here. Welcome, welcome, Hyunmin. Okay. So let's get into the benefits of asking questions. Despite all the challenges that we may come up with, asking questions is a key part of communication, and it comes with several benefits. So the first benefit is, oh, we'll just start with show. You'll be able to show your interest in the topic. That's a big deal, because by showing people that you're interested in them, this works in regular business meetings, but also in just conversations in general. By asking questions, you show that you're engaged in the conversation, you are part of it, and that you want to learn more. And that's really important, especially when if you're in like a sales meeting or a negotiation or something like that. Um, oh, so young, nice to see you. All right. Also, you can clarify things, clarify any doubts that you might have. If something is not clear, by asking questions, you can help to clarify any doubts. And because, and I'll tell you why this is important. When you feel like you can't ask questions, and so you don't, there are almost certainly other people who also feel like they can't ask questions, and they don't. And everyone benefits when you ask the question, because if you're not clear on something, someone else is probably also not clear on something. So by you asking the question, you are making it clear for everyone else. You're helping out the whole group. So that's a great thing. Also, provide solutions to problems. Sometimes by asking questions, it can lead to new and innovative solutions to problems. Did you ever have that? We call it brainstorming, just asking questions. And if you don't ask the questions, then maybe somebody doesn't have that brilliant idea, or maybe you don't have that brilliant idea. And that helps you solve the problem. So asking questions can help you find solutions that you didn't even know you could find. Okay. Create strong bonds. Asking questions can help you build stronger relationships with your clients, your colleagues, your partners, because you'll get to know each other. You'll get to know what is important to each other, and it makes a stronger team. Much better than a lot of team building exercises might be, right? Also, and finally, show that you care by asking questions. Okay, it shows that you care about other people's opinions, about other people's concerns, and that is a big deal for a lot of people to be able to say, hey, I care about you. I care about what you think. I care about your opinions. um, Especially if you're a boss, if you are a manager or something like that, by asking questions of your employees, of the people who you manage, it shows that you care about their opinions too. They're not just some slave that has to go run off and do your bidding. And by showing that, you allow them to feel, you just boost their morale, makes them feel better. All right. All right. So now let's wrap this thing up by talking about how to ask questions in a business meeting and throughout life. I mean, this all of these tips will apply anywhere you go. So asking questions during a business meeting, it can be nerve-wracking, it can be stressful, it can be very difficult, but the more you practice it, the more easy it will become. So here's some tips to help you start asking questions confidently. Okay. So when you start with basic, broad questions. Okay. You want to show that you're interested in the topic being discussed. So, for example, you don't want to ask like every little small little detail, or ask about some small detail. Start with something broad, like what is the goal for this project? Something like that. What is our desire? What's our desired outcome? You know, those kind of broad questions. The next one, listen. Listen. This is going to help you with your communication skills as well by actively listening. So you're listening, you're taking notes, and you're speaking eye to eye to the person that you're meeting with. Try to understand the message that they are conveying. This will also probably give you more questions. If you are listening actively, you might have, I mean, the question may be simple, like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it? That's pretty simple. Or it could be a specific thing about what they said. What did you mean when you said ABC? Okay. Uh, that gets me to the next one, asking follow up questions. If something's not clear, ask follow up questions. That way you can clarify any doubts that you might have. That comes back to that whole thing about clarifying things for everyone else as well as yourself. Okay. Now, get specific. I normally tell people don't ask closed ended questions because they are conversation killers. But in a meeting, or in a sales presentation or something like that, sometimes it is best to ask a closed ended question. What a closed ended question. I also call closed ended questions single answer questions because they are questions that require a simple yes or no answer. So normally I don't like those because they kill conversations. But if you're making a sales pitch, if you are in a meeting and you want a specific answer, hit yes or no. Uh, Still need the confidence will come, Young. The confidence will come the more you practice, the more you practice. Really, that is the key. And finally, keep the tone light. Be mindful of your body language. What do I mean by keep the tone light? When you're really serious in a meeting, it brings the whole feeling in the meeting down. So you want to keep the tone light. Be friendly. Be approachable. Make it so that people can ask you questions as well, and also be mindful of your body language. Here's a quick question. Let's see if anybody knows the answer. How much of your communication in a presentation or in a meeting, how much of your communication is strictly verbal? I mean, how much of the understanding that the audience gets is strictly verbal? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody knows? All right. Well, it's a surprising figure. If you just think about the words that are coming out of your mouth and how people understand what you're saying, the words are only about 7% of what people understand. Majority, more than 50% of your communication is in your facial expressions and your body language. How much are you using your hands? So if you're standing there with your shoulders crossed and your sourpuss on your face, like that, guess what? You're not really going to be portraying the message that people want to get. So make sure that the words that you say match what's on your face. Okay. Keep the tone light and be mindful of your facial expressions and your body language. All right. And that is really all there is to it. Does anyone have any questions about this particular topic today? All right. I hope everyone was paying attention because we're going to get into our little game here. Is everybody ready for the game? Anybody? It's a quiet crowd tonight. So the game goes a little something like this. Let me switch up. So because this is a session about questions, I'm also personally don't want. Hold on, I just I gotta read this one. Let's see. I also personally don't ask things, even though I want to ask so bad, but I rather not do it and just walk away. Somehow it makes me uneasy to ask. Oh yeah, I can understand that. If you feel like you're uneasy to ask a question, and so you just kind of, I'm gonna walk away now. That that's a natural response. You just want to like leave it and not say anything. But by doing that, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to learn more, and you are robbing the other person from an opportunity to get to know you better and maybe maybe learn even more that way. So I'm glad you love games. Here we go. And yeah, that's the other thing. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. Don't have regrets. Ask questions. I think about one of the best things for me. I'm a dad. In case any of you didn't know, I'm a dad of 3 wonderful children, and 2 of those children are in that phase of life where they say why all the time. Why? And it can be frustrating because eventually you get the why and the why and the why. Every time you answer, they get another why. But it's also a little bit fun too because it forces me to become more creative and to find the answers because sometimes there are things I don't have answers to. So I use the tools that I have available in my brain. I pull out the answers, or I do a quick search on the internet and come up with the answers that way. So um, when it comes to questions, try to be like a child. I made a short video about being childlike the other day, and it's really important. Be more childlike. Act like a child in your in your brain and start asking questions about everything. Just ask questions. All right. So let's talk about the game. Just excuse me. Thank you for participating, but then I became a mom and things got better. See, when you become a parent, it's like a new phase of life, and you have to learn how to get over your fears a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Get over your fears and start stepping out and being less afraid of things. So, all right, here's the game. I don't have any prizes, so I'm sorry. This time there's no prizes. Next time I'm going to be introducing a course that will be available. So next time when we play a game, the prize will be something like a discount for my course, a coupon or something like that. Now, if you're the first person to come up with a good answer to the question, actually, I am excited to share with you. Well, I'll just give you the props. So here's how the game works. Because this is a class about questions, I'm going to make a statement. Okay. I'm going to make a statement about something in the presentation. And then I want you to come up with a question that would be so that my statement would be the answer for. And don't worry, I'm not going to say yes, because then you could just ask anything. Okay. Um, so here's my statement. One thing you should do is begin by asking broad questions and show you're interested in the topic being discussed. This is practice. So, what question would you ask to get that answer? One thing you should do is begin by asking broad questions that show you're interested in the topic. Anybody? Anybody? Maybe that was too hard. I don't know. It's like Jeopardy, you know. Anybody? We don't have Jeopardy in Korea. I wish we did. What? That was a great show. The game show Jeopardy. Each question that everyone had was actually an answer, and you had to ask the question in order to get the points. It was an interesting topic. Okay, chat. Let me use Chat GPT for a sec. All right. So nobody has any questions. Okay. Well, that's it. This is going to be the shortest live show that I've ever done. If no one has questions, then we are not going to have much of a live show. If you have any questions for me, please ask. This is the Ask Me Anything show. All right. Feel free to jump in if you have any. All right. Nobody. Well, I feel like I'm talking to myself. LOL. So my afternoon this evening, or I should say this afternoon. Um, oh, excuse me. Actually, has a question. Okay, well, I'll wait here and wait for the question. Who chose my bow tie? Who chose my bow tie? Well, I did actually. What? You don't like it? Do you like my bow tie? All right. So now this is interesting. So, Young says it's still hard to ask questions in English. Still hard to ask in English. All right. So the statement that I made was actually from this slide here. Well, let me make it bigger here. It's from that slide. All right. And I said you should start with basic broad questions. And you can see it right over here at the top. Start with basic broad questions. So the statement was the answer to the question. So I asked you to come up with a question. The best question would have been, what is one way to ask questions in business meetings? Or what is one way to ask questions? But while we're at it, I mean, let's talk about asking questions in English. Always start from your place of curiosity. Okay, what's your question. I mean, what do you want to know? What's your goal? Always start from there. And then you're going to go with the basic question words. Okay. So the question words: who, what, when, where, why, how. Okay. Those are the basic question words. I mean, and then you can have like how much and how this and that. So, um, oh, that's a good question. If you want to sell something, let me put this on the screen. If you want to sell something to people, how you approach for the first time, and what would you ask? That is a good question. And for me personally, um, not quite right. That's not quite right. If you want to sell, I would say if you want to sell something, not it something. If you want to sell something to people, how would you? So I would put how would or how do you approach them for the first time? For the first time. I understand what you're trying to ask. Um, so to answer the question though, if I want to approach someone for sales, I would always start with by not trying to sell them anything. That's one of the very interesting things about sales. In my opinion, the best way to sell people something is to find out what they want, find out what they need, find out how much they want it and how much they have and desire. And then when they've told you all about what they want and what they need, that's when you present them with whatever it is you are selling, because now you are presenting them with a solution to their problem. Okay. That is the whole point of sales. The whole point of making products available for people is you are presenting solutions to problems. So that's what I would do. I would, for the first time I meet someone, I might say, start with some small talk. Yeah, and the best way to start small talk: hi, how are you? Okay. Um, Also, if you don't know who they are, you've never met at all, start with a simple question like, what do you do? Where are you from? Now, I like what do you do because it gets into it opens up the doors for many options and many opportunities, and um and then you can have a chance to make more, get to know them better. And when you get to know them better, then you'll open up your chances for more sales. That's basically the way I would start a conversation approaching someone for the first time. Just start with simple hi, how are you, and start asking questions. Always ask questions, question everything. That's why this episode is called Question Everything. So another question we have right now: hello, my name is Hyunmin. Oh, hi, Hyunmin. That is one way that's how you introduce yourself. Do you have a question, Hyunmin? We also have Pak Eun. Here we go. Actually, I have some questions in my meeting, but I worry about what I don't understand. Is meeting content itself or English? So you are you're falling into the category of fear or worry. You're worried that you might sound foolish because you're not sure if the questions that you have are because you don't understand English, or if it's because you don't understand the meeting content. And I totally understand why you have that fear. We all, I mean, that's a natural inclination. However, if you are worried about the question being an English question, it's better to get it out of the way and sort out the misunderstanding. Okay, if you can sort out the misunderstanding, whether it's about English or about the meeting topic itself, then you will be that much more prepared for the next thing. You'll be able to ask more questions. So I hope you can see how important it is to ask questions, because you're going to cut through a lot of that fear, a lot of the misunderstandings, and it will make communications much more smooth later on down the line. Um, so I hope that answers your question there. So Bobby says, question, what are very impolite questions to foreigners? Oh, that's a good question. For example, in Korea, it's not really a polite question to ask, when are you planning to have a baby? Oh boy, that is a very forward question. When are you planning to have a baby? Um, I think that um, I'm not a woman, but I think that most people uh, in the United States and probably Canada, and I've met many people from the UK and Australia, and I believe that most women would probably, if they're either single or newly married, they probably don't like that question. When are you planning to have a baby? Another one they might not like is, when are you getting married? Which I understand is quite common in China and Taiwan and Korea. When are you getting married? It used to be more common in America, but nah, I don't know. I don't know these days. So, some other very impolite questions to ask in America and yeah, probably UK and basically native English speaking places. How old are you? Even though I know in Korea, that's like one of the key questions. How old are you? Because you got to know so you can tailor your speech the right way. But also, yeah, how old are you? You would never ask someone, how much do you weigh, especially a woman. Um, eh, those are the big ones. Yeah. Uh, yeah. If you, some people say you should avoid talking about religion or politics. I think those should be fair game, but beware, if you do talk about religion or politics, then people may get offended. You know, it is what it is. Hyunmin, do you like heavy? Do you like heavy? I'm not sure what that means. Do you like heavy? I like music. Hyunmin says, I like music. I like music too. What's your favorite uh, musician or singer? That's a very good question you can ask someone and not offensive at all. All right. This is Mandy. Mandy says, how would you manage different generation members in your team? Ooh, um, this is this is an interesting question. It's actually come up quite a lot in several of my sessions recently, talking about the different generations. When we talk about generations, you've got the older generation that might still be working. A lot of whom are retiring now are the we call the boomers or the baby boom generation. They were born between 1946 and 1964. A lot of babies born then. Then there's my generation, Generation X, and that would be 1965 to 1980, I believe. And then 81 to 94, 95 is oh no, the millennial generation. And the youngest generation that's just started working recently, we call them Generation Z, or some people call them the Zoomers. How do you manage the different generations in? Well, that's a tough one. In especially in Asia. I know that in Korea and in Taiwan and China, there's a lot of hierarchy in the work structure, and a lot of that hierarchy is based on your age, and there's a lot of cultural and social requirements for the amount of respect that you show or you are expected to show. Um, the managing of different generation members in your team in the United States or in other places might not be as big of a deal as it is in Asia, um, because you know, especially in the United States, at least for my time in business, people were promoted and given positions of authority based on their aptitude, their skills. Not always because of the length of time that they'd been in the job. So I'd be curious to know more about what you mean by different members in your team. So drop another question if you have more. Um, uh-oh. I guess I'm boring you. Kim So Young must be so bored. She's sleeping over here. All right, and here's another question. Another question. How about you want to get closer to someone as a friend for male and female and male both. Are you are you referring to a male and a female wanting to get closer as friends, but only friends, or I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you're looking to get close to anyone as a friend, the first thing you need to do is find out if you have anything in common. And again, that's where we come into asking questions. Always ask questions. So the best questions that you can ask are either related to what you are doing at the time. If you're you say you're a mom, so if you're at the playground or something with your kids and you're going to meet other moms there, you can start conversations with them by asking questions. And you can do this in any language, English or whatever your home language is. By asking questions, you're just getting to know each other. Start with something like, um, how old are your kids, or something like that. Um, it's relatable. Now, if you're in a business conference or something, and you want to talk to a person who's next to you or near you, you can ask questions like, "So, what do you think of the show?" When you're asking questions like this, you're trying to get as much information from them as possible. So that you want to ask those open-ended questions. What do you think? Uh, uh, Whereas the single answer questions, like you could say, like, do you like the show or do you like the presentation? Yes or no. Eh, that conversation is dead. So we don't want to kill the conversation like that. All right. So Bobby says, still having difficulty with communicating in English, especially with native English speakers. Not sure whether they understand my English. Also, sometimes cannot understand excuse me, not why, what they are talking about. Okay. Um, I'm not sure how often you communicate with native speakers. If you communicate quite a lot, um, that's great, and you need to keep practicing. Just keep trying to talk more and more. I'm going to teach you a very quick expression that will hopefully help you out with that. If you are having a hard time understanding another person, whether they're a native speaker or another person speaking English from a different country, you know, maybe they have a very thick accent or something. It is completely acceptable, not even acceptable. It's encouraged to ask for clarification. What do you mean by that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you speak a little more slowly, please? Could you say that again for me? I didn't understand you. Or, and then, okay, and don't be afraid to ask those questions. I do it if I'm speaking with someone in Korean and they're speaking too fast for me, or I don't know what they're saying. I try, if I want to have a conversation with them, I will try to ask. Uh, you know, I'll tell them in Korean, I don't understand what you're saying. Could you say that again? Or what is that? That's a really good question. My daughter loves to ask that question. What's this? What's that? Or she'll say it in Korean. 이거 뭐야? 이거 뭐야? 이거 뭐야? 이거 뭐? She does it all the time. So it's really cute. What's this? What's this? What's this? And so she learns what things are by asking that simple question. My son's favorite question is why? Why? So, um, yeah, don't be afraid to ask what someone means. It's really important. And if you are not understanding what another person is saying to you, just ask. Really, Don't be afraid. If they are trying to talk to you, that means that they want to talk to you. And therefore, if they want to talk to you, that means they would like to communicate with you more freely. That means they will be more than happy to answer whatever question you might have for them. So that's pretty much all. I mean, that's my advice on that. I always say you should always, always, always ask questions if you're uncertain about anything. It's the best advice that I can give to anybody. I'm going to make a t-shirt. I'm going to make a coffee mug. It's going to say question everything so that you always remember that's what you, maybe I'll make a bow tie too. I'll get a question everything. All right. Well, we've been going for just about 40 minutes or so, and I'm not seeing a whole lot more questions popping up. So, unless there are more questions, I'm going to call it a night and go spend some time with my wife while the kids are asleep. Hey, that sounds like a winner for me. Anybody have any more questions? All right. Going once, going twice. All right. I'm going to end it right there. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had a great time answering your questions, and I look forward to doing this again next week. All right. If you are in my student list, come on in and join, or I will see you in class. If not, um, I will. I will repost this video, probably clipped up and edited a bit later on in the week. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and share the video with your friends because I really need all the help I can get. All right. Bye bye.